It all started with a dress. 3 days before her younger sister's engagement party, Hannah Carter walked into the house after a long shift and found her mother waiting in the living room. In her hands was a cream-colored dress that had clearly been chosen with great care. She smiled, but there was a familiar hesitation in her eyes. "I think you should wear this that night." Hannah looked at the dress, then back at her mother. Her mother quickly explained that the Holloways were a family of status and influence. The guest list would include business owners, attorneys, and some of the most prominent people in the city. "A firefighter's dress uniform," she said, "would make Hannah stand out too much." Hannah said nothing. She had been carrying that silence for years. 12 years of service with the Portland Fire Department had never been something her family wanted to talk about. Whenever people asked what Hannah did for a living, her mother would simply say that she worked for the city. No one ever spoke about the lives she had saved from burning buildings. No one ever mentioned the nights she ran into collapsing structures to bring complete strangers home safely. In that family, all the attention had always belonged to Emily. Emily was beautiful, charming, and about to marry Nathan Holloway, the heir to a wealthy and respected family. For months, Hannah's mother had treated the engagement party as the most important event of her life. And Hannah felt more like a guest invited out of obligation than a daughter who truly belonged there. That evening, when she returned to her room, she noticed a small envelope resting outside her door. Inside was a handwritten letter from a young woman named Lily. Years earlier, Hannah had rescued her from a devastating fire. The simple words inside stopped her cold. "If you hadn't come that day, I wouldn't be here today. I will always be grateful to you." Hannah sat by the window for a long time. Outside, the city glowed beneath a sea of lights. Inside, a familiar feeling quietly returned, the sadness of being valued more by strangers than by her own family. What she didn't know was that within a few days, a secret hidden for years would come to light and change everything forever. 2 days before the engagement party, Hannah received a message from her Aunt Rebecca. It was nothing more than a screenshot. But within seconds of opening it, she felt as if the entire room had gone silent. It was a family group chat, a chat that included nearly every relative. Everyone except one person, Hannah. She scrolled through the messages one by one. Her mother had written most of them. She instructed everyone not to bring up Hannah's work as a firefighter in front of the guests. She said the uniform would not fit the elegant image of the event. She had even arranged for Hannah to sit at the table farthest from the stage, so she would attract as little attention as possible. The most painful part was not what had been said, it was the silence that followed. No one objected. No one defended her. No one said any of it was wrong. Hannah sat motionless for a long time. For years, she had convinced herself that her family simply did not understand her life. But for the first time, she realized the truth was something entirely different. They understood. They just did not believe it was worthy of respect. Later that afternoon, Nathan happened to find Hannah sitting alone on the back porch. He immediately sensed that something was wrong. After a long silence, Hannah handed him her phone and showed him the messages. Nathan read every word from beginning to end. As he continued scrolling, the expression on his face slowly changed. The man who was about to become her brother-in-law did not say much. He only asked one quiet question. "Have they really treated you like this for all these years?" For the first time in a very long while, Hannah did not try to defend her family. She simply nodded. That night, while everyone else was busy preparing for the engagement celebration, Hannah opened the old wooden wardrobe in her room. Inside hung her ceremonial uniform, carefully pressed and perfectly arranged. The soft golden light reflected off the badges and rank insignia. She reached out and gently ran her fingers across them. Then she looked at herself in the mirror. In that moment, Hannah realized the choice in front of her was no longer about clothes. It was about whether she would continue living according to the version of herself that other people preferred. And for the first time in many years, her answer had changed. On the night of the engagement party, the elegant riverside venue was filled with sparkling lights and the sound of laughter. Important guests continued to arrive throughout the evening. The Carter family moved through the crowd, greeting everyone, pride visible on their faces. At first, Hannah appeared exactly as everyone had wanted. A simple dress, a polite smile, nothing that would draw attention, nothing that would stand out. But after the main ceremony ended, she quietly slipped away from the ballroom. 15 minutes later, the large doors at the back of the reception hall opened once again. Hannah walked in wearing her formal firefighter dress uniform. Conversations throughout the room began to slow. Curious eyes turned toward her. At that exact moment, an older gentleman who had just entered the venue suddenly stopped in his tracks. It was the mayor of Portland. He looked at Hannah for several seconds before breaking into a warm smile. "I never expected to see the hero of the East District Fire here tonight." The room fell almost completely silent. The mayor walked directly toward her and extended his hand. He spoke about the night dozens of families had been safely evacuated because of Hannah's leadership in the middle of a devastating blaze. He said the city would always be grateful for people like her. Applause began from one corner of the room. Then, more people rose to their feet. Within moments, the entire ballroom was filled with admiration and respect. Members of the Holloway family stepped forward as well, welcoming Hannah with a sincerity she had never truly experienced from her own relatives. Across the room, her mother stood frozen. Years of trying to hide Hannah's accomplishments suddenly became meaningless. Emily walked over and wrapped her arms around her sister. For the first time, she tearfully apologized for spending so many years seeing only what the family wanted her to see. Hannah did not blame her. She did not need to prove anything anymore, because in that moment, the most important thing was not the recognition of the crowd. It was the fact that she had finally stopped making herself smaller to keep other people comfortable. And from that day forward, Hannah chose to live according to her own values. No more hiding, no more apologizing, no more lowering her head because of achievements she had earned through years of sacrifice, courage, and dedication.